I grew up in Victoria. I grew up on a farm. I married a wonderful man. We had 3 sons together, and during the time of raising them, he was in a near-fatal car accident. And I guess that was the first tragedy in my life, having to try and live with somebody that was brain damaged and raising 3 young children. At the same time, my middle son became diabetic, same weekend. So I had 2 of them in 2 different hospitals in ICU. We lost our business. He is now living in a home back in Windsor. So I had to start again. I started my own business, and unfortunately I lost everything again and ended up on the streets. My oldest son and his girlfriend, they got a townhouse. My other 2 children went to live with my parents on the farm. I got another job. I was working really long hours, and someone said, well, there's somewhere cheap to live, and it happened to be downtown East Side. I got introduced to the drug scene, which kept me awake and let me do longer hours of work. So I was actually a functioning addict, and life got a little too tough, and I guess I just took a vacation from life and stayed in the downtown East Side. Where I was living was actually the Vancouver Sun and City of Vancouver entitled it The Little House of Horrors. I never expected to see what I saw when I came down here. I was, lived in Surrey. I was a housewife. I had children. And I lived in a nice apartment, and we lived in nice houses. They tore the Marie Gomez down, and they gave us 48 hours to move out with no help. After being homeless, I ended up at the Gastown Hotel, which I've taken a lot of pictures of. I never believed there could be something like that, where bugs and mice crawled over you all night, where there was no women's washroom, there was no locks on the bathroom doors, there was no door for the shower, and if you wanted to get water or do your dishes, you had to do it right beside the men's urinal. It was really filthy. I would never have believed that was in downtown Vancouver, and it still is. When she told me I was positive, I don't think I heard anything after that, what she said. All I heard was, wah, 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 wah. And in my head was, you're gonna die, you're gonna die. And I think that's why I went into a tailspin of denial and heavy drug use. The longer I stayed away from my doctor, the more I feared that when I went back, it would be like, you should have been here. It's that old principal feeling. And I was actually scared to go. But when I got so very sick, someone forced me to go. And all she said was, I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. She didn't judge me whatsoever. I feel that downtown East Side is a community within itself. It's an 8-block radius, which our government has entitled the most dangerous area in Canada. But each one of those people is a human being. Each one of them has a mother, father, sister, brother. And the way that I think that we're treated and classified really puts a misconception of what we really are down there and how BC Housing houses us. It doesn't give us a chance to re-earn our dignity or even have any self-worth. We just keep putting pushed down, but we're resilient. We look after each other. We have each other's backs. I was homeless and still living in an empty field. The city came in and was moving us out, even though we had had permission to live there. And it hit the newspapers, and I had not reconnected with my adult children. And I hadn't done it because I didn't know how to tell them I was HIV positive. I didn't know how to tell them that I had become a drug addict. And so every day that went by, it just got harder and harder to do. And I think that's why I probably used, was to get rid of that pain. And through the paper, we reconnected. And I thought, my kids can't know that I'm a drug addict, so I quit. That was it. I just quit. My kids were coming back, and I wanted to change my life. PWN, I went on my first retreat, met a lot of women. From there, I heard about the Positive Leadership Development Institute through PAN. Pacific AIDS Network, and I think that was my first stepping stone for getting my life back together. It was Susie Coulter from the MAP program took me to my first conference, and we were sitting there, and a gentleman sat down beside me and asked who he knew in the downtown east side that she knew that they could trust and that would be able to work in the downtown east side. And she says, well, the lady sitting right next to you, she's wonderful. She's probably the best person I could think of. And that's when the National Food Security Study was coming out. So I applied for that job and I got it. So when I went in, I met Brian for the first time. He said, how much money do you need? And I said, well, I'm doing 8 interviews this week and they're $40 each, but I can come and pick up for each day. He says, what do you want? $100, $200, $400? What would you like? And he was actually, I think, the first person I think that ever trusted me. When he trusted me, it actually gave me some self-worth back, some self-dignity, because I was picking myself up from the abyss of the downtown east side and the life that I was living. And it's a hard thing to do because everybody keeps pushing you back down. And for him to trust me, it gave me that little bit of, well, it gave me courage too, to continue in this role and growing as a leader in my community. AIDS Vancouver is very important, particularly with myself and starting Harvest Organic Co-op and being housed under AIDS Vancouver. We wouldn't have a place to do our fruit and vegetables, which are organic, for people with compromised immune systems, and how important it is to have those organics. I mean, we're already battling the toxicity of our meds. We don't need all those pesticides added. And if it wasn't for AIDS Vancouver, we wouldn't have had a place to get started. I wanted to get out of the downtown east side, and I tried. And everywhere I went, because I lived in an SRO and in the downtown east side, even in the worst sections of Surrey, they wouldn't even call my references. They wouldn't even, oh yeah, we'll call you on Friday. We'd never hear from them again. So I took a step back and said, okay, I'm meant to stay here. So what is my role now? And I looked around me, and even though I had already started making change, I have to stay here and continue that change. It's my passion, and I am the voice for the people that can't be heard. Becoming a grandmother has, I guess, renewed my love of life. I see the world through her eyes. I just love her, and she's now a big sister to baby Marcus, and she's just, it's the best time of my life right now. I am a leader in my community, and I'm proud of it.